In today's episode, I've got the lovely Rosanna Tennant from F1 broadcasting. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course, Raz. Thank you so much for asking me to be on your series. I'm Rosanna Tennant, as you said, and I work for Formula One, and I also do bits and bobs for other people as well, some of which are the Mercedes F1 team. I've done a little bit in tennis as well, which probably isn't your bag, Raz, but yeah, bits and pieces all around as a broadcast journalist and presenter.
So first of all, it's an honor to be talking to you. So let's just have a little chat about Formula One. So first of all, how did you get into Formula One?
Do you know what? It sounds awful, but it was a bit by chance because I always wanted to be a journalist and a broadcast journalist. So I did a master's and studied it, and then was really lucky to secure some work experience at Sky News Sports. And while I was there, they said, would I like to go and shadow one of the presenters, John Desborough, who was going to a McLaren and Hilton shoot with Jenson Button. So it's quite a few years ago now, back in, I think, 2011. And I shadowed John and I watched him do a piece to camera, and he changed the tyre with Jenson Button. They were kind of doing a little pit stop out at the front of the hotel. And I thought, that looks really cool. And then it wasn't until about a year and a half later that a company I was working for, or had been working for, called me up and said, we're going to be launching a motorsport YouTube channel with the backing of Google and YouTube. They were funding it. And they wanted to look at Formula One, World Rally, MotoGP, a bit of NASCAR, a bit of WEC, and they needed a presenter. And they said, would I like to be considered? And then I was really lucky that I was given the opportunity, and that was back at the very end of 2012, and my first season in F1 was 2013. So it was sort of by chance, but I knew that I wanted to be in the broadcast journalism space, but I'm very, very lucky and happy to say that it is in the Formula One world.
I'm happy that you're in Formula One as well, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, for me, it just started because I've been watching Formula One since I was 6. I'm 36 now, so I've been doing it for 30 years.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then about four years ago, I had a labyrinthitis, and then I didn't speak for 3 weeks because I had panic attacks and all that. So the doctor said to me, why don't you talk about Formula One and get yourself a camera? And that's how I started talking again. And this is how it's sort of how Rosanna on F1 actually started. So
where it's already got to, Raz, it's awesome. So quickly already. Look at you, got Raz on F1 behind you. You've got the full headset going on. You're
yes.
a pro.
But what do you think about the season so far?
It's been a weird one, hasn't it? Because with the delay, with obviously COVID-19, it's just changed the landscape of Formula One. And I don't know about you, but there were those months where I was thinking, gosh, March went by, April, May, and I was thinking, are we going to get a season underway? And then actually Formula One have done the most brilliant job of getting together a calendar and getting some incredible racetracks onto the calendar as well, ones that we weren't obviously expecting to go to at any time soon. And yeah, I mean, Lewis Hamilton's just so dominant still, isn't he? And that Mercedes car is still so dominant. I don't know about you, Raz. What did you think? Did you think Valtteri was going to be able to take a win on Sunday? I can't believe the bad luck he got.
No, I mean, I think Louise is practically 7-time world champion, isn't he? So I think it's done already.
Yeah, I think it is looking more and more likely. I think Valtteri would have to have a very, very lucky run if he was going to overturn Lewis at this point. And I feel sorry for Valtteri because, he's spoken about it and he seemed to have been very much a fighter this year. And he was so determined to take it to Lewis. And at times it looked like he really was going to. He came out fighting right at the beginning of the season. But it's just, Lewis has got so much in the locker, hasn't he? You have the weekends where on Friday he's a little bit down and he's a little bit angsty after the sessions and he's saying, I've got to go away and I've got to do some homework. And then just through the weekend, he just turns it over and he just pulls out a stormer of a pole lap or he manages, you know, in Mugello, those starts, the second and third starts were just insane from him. And yeah, he just always seems to deliver when it matters, doesn't he? And that is why, obviously, there's a lot of little goats all around on social media at the moment.
Yeah,
The emoji is going overdrive.
yeah, I mean, but what do you think about? I think Lewis Hamilton's performance is incredible. But what do you think about Nico Eichenberg's performance?
Wow, I mean, I've got a coffee sitting here in front of me. Put it this way, if someone rang me while I was sipping on a coffee on a Saturday morning and said, can you quickly nip to your local track, basically, of course, he was in Cologne, so Nürburgring was a local one to him. Can you just quickly come and do a qualifying session? Obviously, I've never been a Formula One driver, and I will never be one, so I wouldn't be able to turn it on at all, ever. But Nico was phenomenal to be able to put down that coffee, probably had to go back and pay for it, probably left so quickly, and then to be able to get in a Formula One car and just get straight back into it. And I loved how he joked before the race, didn't he? Saying, you know, I haven't slept all night. I've been studying the steering wheel, been looking at all the data. I've been talking to my engineers. I've had so much coffee. I don't think I'm going to make the race start. I'm so tired. So it was an amazing, amazing performance from him. And I can imagine he woke up on Monday morning feeling a little bit kind of, whoa, what just happened? But yeah, it was so good to see him. Do you think we'll see him back next year? Do you reckon he's going to get a seat?
I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think if he doesn't get a seat, right, there's something wrong with Formula One.
Which team do you think? You thinking Alfa Romeo? Haas, okay, because we were all talking about Alfa Romeo, weren't we? Because of Fred Vasseur and Nico's link with him from years gone by. But Haas, I mean, Kevin and Romain, I appreciate Haas's argument of, you know, they don't want to upset the apple cart and it's good to have consistency and experience, but they need a change, don't they?
Yes, but I think if I was Lawrence Stroll, right, I think if Aston Martin is serious about winning the championship, I think Lawrence Stroll should fire his own son.
Yeah. It's going to make for an awkward Christmas, that, Raz.
But, you know, that's never going to happen. But,
but he is a businessman. You know, Lawrence Stroll, he wants to do things the best way to achieve the best results. And if it is, you know, as you say, firing his son, oh, can you imagine? Then maybe he would be prepared to take that difficult decision. But equally, Lance, you know, he's had some bad results, some DNFs and some reliability issues. But you know, he's also someone that has managed to pull it out of the bag sometimes when it matters.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not saying he's bad, but I really want to see Nico back on the grid. But yeah. my fear is that Kimi is gonna have another year at Alfa Romeo, and then Nico's not going to get a seat, but I think he does deserve a seat.
Yeah, he definitely deserves a seat. This is why we almost need more teams, don't we? We need those third driver seats in F1 to accommodate more drivers, or maybe some more teams. But you know, in the current climate, perhaps that's unlikely. But yeah, you're so right. Nico deserves a seat. Kimi Räikkönen is fabulous for the sport, but you know, is it time to bow out? I heard rumours a few weeks ago, about a month ago, that he had kind of decided it was a no. And then suddenly this weekend, we're all hearing it's a yes. So who knows? It could all change, as it does in Formula One, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I really want Nico to get back into Formula One, because he's not finished yet. But I mean, what do you think about the whole Mercedes saga? Like, Toto Wolff is supposed to be not signed yet, and neither is Lewis Hamilton. So I think, could Lewis Hamilton retire at the end of the season?
Could you imagine? I don't know, though. I feel like he's got more in the tank. I feel like he's still hungry. I know he has been saying, hasn't he, that, you know, it's hard to perform at this level, and it's tiring as you get older. And I can imagine it is. But I don't know. I feel like if he seals the championship this year, surely he's going to want to go for the 8th, isn't he?
Yeah, but I'm not too sure about because when Mick Schumacher gave him the Michael's helmet, I think he was really emotional, and I was wondering, would he want to better Michael's achievement, or would he just equal it and then bail out? Because
yeah, that's an interesting theory. I know he was very emotional, wasn't he? Almost more emotional than we've seen him in moments like that. I think it was really lovely, and it was so nice that Mick Schumacher was able to give him the helmet. I don't know. I think if you're a sportsman, I mean, he often says he doesn't worry about the records, but if he feels like he can still compete at a high level, and he's got a car, if it is with Mercedes next year, if he's got a car that can fight, then I can't imagine he'd want to walk away from an opportunity to fight at the front and try and go for another championship win.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, and I seem to be alone in this with a lot of people. But I think Lewis Hamilton's future is linked to Toto's.
Wow.
Because
do you want Toto to stay, Raz? Are you a Toto fan?
I would have preferred Toto to be in charge of Formula One, to take over from Chase Carey, but apparently Ferrari wasn't too keen on that, were they?
No, we heard Toto say that, didn't we? Because obviously they had a vote of power to say no to him getting that job. But I don't know. I think Stefano Domenicali is going to do a great job. Everybody likes him in the paddock. You've heard no bad words about him over the last couple of weeks since the announcement that he'd be replacing Chase Carey. So I think hopefully he'll be a great choice for Formula One. I think there's quite a lot to put right. And I'm sure lots of people will be rushing to him with things that they want to be solved for their own sort of benefit. But hopefully he can kind of get through that and get F1 on the road to sort of, not recovery, but, to turn over a new leaf and keep marching forward. But I think Toto would have done an excellent job as well. As you say, I think it would have been great to have him leading F1. But who knows? Maybe he will be telling us soon. I don't know. Probably in the next... You'd hope soon, in the next couple of weeks, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but then again, Lewis Hamilton hasn't signed yet.
Maybe they're waiting together at the same table, ready to sign together, or
yeah, but
it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult with the amount of racing to find time to sit down and thrash out contracts.
Yeah, but what do you think about Vettel? I mean, were you surprised that he's signed for Aston Martin?
I'm not surprised he signed for them. I think they offer him a chance of fighting up at the front again. And again, I go back to my argument of, Lawrence Stroll wants to do this well, Aston Martin will want to do it well. So I think he's chosen a good place to go to. But I'm surprised he wanted to stay in F1. I sort of felt like perhaps he wanted to just sort of say that's enough and walk away. So, and him being on the grid is fabulous. That's great to have a multiple world champion on the grid. But when you've got other drivers, younger drivers perhaps, who could take seats here and there, it would have been good as well to have had new talent. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Whoever he's partnered with, whether it will still be a Lance Stroll or whether it might be a Nico, or maybe there's more changes to come. We don't know. The season is still young, essentially.
I mean, the thing is, I think, I was surprised. To be honest, I thought he was gonna walk away because he's proven everything in Formula One, and whatever he did at Ferrari is sort of sort of damaging his legacy almost, because I think he's better than what he can show at the moment with Ferrari.
Of course, and also we've sort of all been hoping that it was going to come good and Ferrari were going to get back on track. And of course, we saw glimmers of that last year when they were performing. And then, of course, these little alterations to the engine rules, or the clarifications, shall we say, have meant that they've taken a massive step backwards. And added to that, it's not just the car. Charles Leclerc seems to be able to get the car working in places that Sebastian isn't. So that's even worse in a way. If it's both of them languishing at the back, that's fine. But when Charles is able to qualify fourth, you're just like, for Sebastian, and you can't get into Q3. So as you say, yeah, it's not great for his legacy. You're right, and that I agree. Like that was why I kind of thought he would walk away. But props to him for getting a seat at Aston Martin, because I think it's going to be a good seat to be in next year.
What do you think went wrong for him at Ferrari?
Sorry, who?
What do you think went wrong for him at Ferrari?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps he expected it to be an easier ride. I don't know. It just never really clicked, did it? And it was very quick to click with Charles, and then it just sort of petered away for Sebastian. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird one, because you would have thought it would have been a perfect combination. A very sort of conscientious driver, very involved in the tech and the setup side of cars, and you know, a huge fan of the history of the sport. Going to Ferrari, you thought that would be the perfect mix. But yeah, it's weird how it hasn't worked out for him, and it's sad as well, isn't it? Because that would have been wonderful to see Sebastian Vettel win in a Ferrari. That would have been a great thing to see.
I mean, I've got a theory, but this is not gonna go down well.
Go on, Raz, go on.
I reckon he was always doomed. He was always bound to fail when he signed that contract.
You think?
Yeah, because the reason why I say that is because his idol is Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
And he was always gonna emulate. He was always going to try and emulate Michael Schumacher, and Ferrari kind of, they never said that, but you know, I'm pretty sure they thought they could do it as well. Certainly the German media, when when it first started, I think they were seeing him as the next successor from what Michael did, but I think the pressure was just too much for him.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You think you're going to have the most perfect combination, and then it just doesn't work. The cogs don't fit together. But yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what it will be like next year. And also, you know, Aston Martin will have huge hopes for Sebastian coming in. And again, you know, when people have huge hopes, sometimes they can be really disappointed. But I'm hoping it won't be that. And I hope the two sort of entities, Aston Martin and Sebastian, can work really well together. And yeah, we can see Sebastian back at the front.
Do you reckon he's going to win like a race?
But before the end of this season, or with Aston Martin?
With Aston Martin.
Yeah, we've written off this season, haven't we, Raz? Yeah, definitely. I think in the first year, I'm not sure. It's difficult to say, isn't it, whether they're going to really be a competitive car right at the front. But podiums, I would imagine, yeah, definitely, given that we've got Checo and Lance knocking on the door of it at the moment. I suppose it just depends how strong Mercedes continue to be, and Red Bull as well, who have closed that gap massively. So
yeah, but I personally...
How awful would it be a Ferrari one? Oh, can you imagine?
yeah. I mean, I personally think he's going to get podiums, but then again, will he be allowed to outshine Daddy's boy?
But can you imagine the scenario that first race of 2021 and Charles Leclerc wins in the Ferrari? Oh my goodness. Or Carlos Sainz. I mean, can you imagine? Oh, that would be heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do you think? What do you think Albon is gonna do? Do you reckon he's gonna be in the Red Bull next season?
I really hope he will be, because I think he is slowly getting more comfortable with that car, and obviously with the engineer change with Simon Rennie coming in, I think that has worked a little bit better. So I would like to see him stay. I think he's got more to give to them, and I think we can see how much he's a real racer. Goodness me, you know, he's caused a few issues this season, I have to say, with some of his overtaking maneuvers, but that shows he's trying to get the job done. So I think these next few races, he really needs to close the gap to Max and be right there, if not out qualifying Max. That would just be a really, really important step for Alex. But yeah, I think they need to keep believing in him. And I think to switch him back to AlphaTauri, that would be, I think, yeah, it's that revolving door, isn't it, at Red Bull? They just got to press pause on it for a moment maybe and just consolidate and just get everyone kind of going. But then there's a lot of talk that AlphaTauri's driver lineup will change as well. So who knows? Lots of exciting news to come, I'm sure, from Franz Tost and Christian Horner.
Yeah, I mean, what surprised me was that Christian Horner didn't know that Honda was pulling out before Helmut Marko did. I mean, it makes me wonder who is the real team boss at Red Bull.
Yes, good point. Good point. I know. Were you surprised that Honda are leaving?
Was I surprised? Well, I was in a way, because they're still going with IndyCar. So, but I'm worried for Red Bull because I can't see. I mean, obviously, Renault would have to supply them an engine, but we all know how that divorce, sort of how that relationship went.
Ended in divorce, yeah, absolutely.
And I think I don't know what Red Bull are going to do, because as I said, it's sort of going to be a forced working together, isn't it? I mean.
Well, there's a lot of talk there had been a lot of talk about Mugen Honda being a sort of interim solution, and then that allowing Honda to sort of come back in when Formula One goes carbon neutral, because obviously that's the reason that Honda have left Formula One, are going to leave Formula One. Then Honda have been quite vocal, saying that that's not going to happen, Honda's not going to happen. And then Franz Tost said something over the weekend. He said, it would be good, he hopes someone's going to fill the hole that Honda leaves. So then that makes me think, is someone entirely new going to be coming into the sport? And that would be great for the sport, because to lose an engine manufacturer completely like Honda obviously isn't a great look for Formula One. So if there was a new one to come in, that would be great. Mugen Honda, they've sort of said no, but you never know. But I think the most important thing is that Max's contract isn't affected by it, and that he can stay at Red Bull Racing, and hopefully whatever happens, Red Bull can continue their sort of the performance it's just been getting better, hasn't it? So hopefully that will continue. Yeah. Max will continue, and hopefully they'll find someone, whether that is some IP setup, taking what Honda have given them and rebranding it for Red Bull, I don't know, or whether it's somebody new. It would be interesting to see how that all kind of pans out. But yeah, I'd be a bit flustered if I were Franz and Christian at that point, when I was told that they were losing their engine supplier.
Are you scared for Formula One?
Am I scared for them? No, I think it's heading in a good direction. I think we've had a few years now, obviously, with the takeover, that, it's like a little startup in a way, which is bizarre for a organization that's been going for so long. Suddenly their social media is better. We've got, lots of interaction with the drivers and the teams, and we're getting a bit more of an insight into the sport. We've got the Netflix series, which has taken people behind the scenes of the sport and to the casual fan rather than the sort of real avid fan. I think there's still a way to go, but I think we're going to, great tracks. I think the fact that they've been able to pull together, as I said earlier, a calendar this year with COVID-19, I think that has been great for the sport. So some sort of continuity, so the fans have things to watch. I know it's a shame we're not all there, but it gives us something. And yeah, hopefully just more tracks added. Maybe they just need to have a little think about how many races we can physically do in a year. But it's a wonderful sport, and I know you're a huge fan. I think I don't want to feel worried, because I believe it's going to get better in the coming years. And with Stefano Domenicali, with Ross Brawn, I think it's going to be in a strong place and in safe hands, hopefully. Yeah,
I mean, so when you first got into Formula One, how did it all? Who was your first interview, and how did that go?
My first interview in Formula One, I think, was with Jenson Button. at McLaren in 2013 ahead of, at their launch, at the team launch, and it was Jensen and Checo. Gosh, I'm showing my age now. And it was really great. Yes, just asking them how they'd spent their holidays. Were they ready for the season? Were they ready for testing? Their hopes, expectations and things. So that was at the launches. And then my first interview out at a race, I think was before the Melbourne Grand Prix on the Wednesday or the Thursday, I can't remember. And it was at Caterham, and it was with Guido van der Garde. Down on the beach at St Kilda. There you go.
So do you still enjoy it, like, because you've been doing it for a while, or does it still feel surreal, or have you kind of become used to it now?
Oh, I'm still so, well, I just feel lucky, pinch myself every time that I'm doing, the job I always wanted to do. It has changed. Obviously, in 2013 and 14, I was presenting the YouTube channel Pole Position. So that was, had a different style. We weren't always at the races. We were having to come up with different content ideas, sometimes without drivers and teams. So we were, our little brains are having to work quite hard to come up with lots of ideas. And then, of course, working with the Mercedes team, since like 2015, that's been brilliant. And then now working directly for Formula One, I've been working with them since 2017. And yeah, I love it. I'm so lucky and I'm so spoiled to be allowed to interview the great and the good and celebrities that come to the races. So that's always exciting. I'm very, very lucky to have done the track parade, so interviewing the drivers on the back of the lorries or trucks, or in the cars going around before the race. And yeah, every time I get to interview them, it's such an honor and it's such a pleasure, because we talk about Lewis being greatest of all time. To be able to interview somebody who's considered that and their legacy will last forever, it's actually amazing. At the time, you're sort of like, oh yeah, he's actually going to be, this is humongous. So very, very lucky. And still absolutely loving it. Just wish I could be at the track doing it rather than in a studio at Biggin Hill, because I feel very detached from it at the moment. Yeah. But fingers crossed, we'll be back there soon.
Yeah, I mean, like, as I said, when I started this YouTube channel, it was just like to get me talking again and sort of conquer my anxieties, and it sort of started from there really. But now it's sort of I lost my great granny a couple of years ago, and the last thing she said to me, get yourself a paid gig presenting Formula One in some small way.
Definitely. And so you enjoying the presenting as well? You're enjoying being on camera and chatting?
Yeah, I mean, like I would have never imagined us doing this. I've had 8 people from the Formula One circus now, and I hope we can stay in touch, and one day I hope we can meet or something. You can always message me on Twitter or something, and I hope we stay in touch. And
well, thank you so much for asking me to be on part of the series and part of the channel. It's so cool to be on Razon F1. And yes, as you say, hopefully when we're back at races, maybe you'll come along and maybe you'll be doing presenting. It would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a question for you, because I basically all the contacts I've had so far, I've basically tweeted people, but my dream is to get Lewis Hamilton and Nico Eichenberg on, have a 20-minute conversation with them or something. So have you got any ideas how I can get that sorted?
Tweet them, send them messages on Instagram and Twitter and all sorts, and see how you go. That's the best way of kind of contacting people, I think. Social media is such a fantastic tool in that sense.
Because, it's like, I want to, obviously, it's unreal for me that actually I've done an episode with you now. I've done an episode with Natalie Pinkham. I've done an episode with Will Buxton, and it's all growing, but I've never managed to get a driver.
As I say, literally just message them all and send out messages, and even the F2 drivers, and see, who replies, because I'm sure they're all keeping eyes on their messages.
Yeah, so yeah, as I said, I'm really pleased that you took the time to sort of have a chat with me, and yeah, and I hope we can stay in touch, and yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, and or I really hope we can meet one day, and we stay in touch.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and just so much luck, and I hope it all goes so well with you on Rosanna F1, and you continue to get more and more people to be part of it. So well done you, because it's really great.
Yeah, because as I said, I mean, as I said, my main aim is now to sort of fulfill my granny's last wish, and sort of get a small gig, paid gig on presenting Formula One in some way. Have you got any ideas about how I can go about that? Because I can't just say to Sky, give me a gig. Can I?
I know there are a lot of people that are wishing Sky would give them a gig. I don't know, just sending emails, I guess, just, and also just by putting up videos on Rosanna F1, that's going to get you people watching as well. So get eyeballs on the videos, and then, yeah, messages. I think it's just tenacity is the name of the game. I think lots of emails, lots of following up, and people are slow to reply, and you have to kind of think, oh, well, it's not because it's a no, it's because they haven't got round to it. So I'll send a follow up and I'll chase them on that. And yeah, just constant kind of communication, I guess, just to keep people aware that you're still in the space and you're still wanting to be part of the industry.
Did you ever think that you would be where you are now?
Did I ever think I would?
Yeah.
I hoped I would, and I guess you just have to keep on persevering. But my goodness, I sent hundreds of emails. I used to have a list of all the people that I thought I should contact and get in touch with, and had I heard from them, no, so I'd send another email, and okay, it had been 2 months, so probably I should send another email. And I worked at a local paper, I worked at local radio, I was the one on a Sunday morning, because no one else wanted to go and report on a boat coming into Dover. I was down there recording it because no one else wanted to be there, funnily enough, at 7 in the morning on a Sunday. But I was like, yeah, I'll go. So it's been a long old slog, I have to say, and I'm very much still at the bottom of the pile. So it's hard work, but yeah, as I say, just being tenacious, having perseverance, and just not giving up. If your dream is to present on Formula One, as you say, a paid gig, then just don't give up until someone replies and says, yes, come in and have a go. So yeah. Just that's all I can urge you to do.
As I said, it's I love doing this YouTube channel, and I love Formula One, and I can't believe I've had the honor to sort of speak to you and speak to Will and everybody else. As I said, I hope we can stay in touch via Twitter or something. And then we can maybe one day we can meet up or something after this COVID is done and dusted.
Definitely, I know. Let's hope that is soon. Raz, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. All right.
Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.